It's a rare sight to see developers push anything more than a few patches to their already released games, let alone an entire revamped version with additional content and free of charge. However, developer White Rabbit demonstrates their passion and dedication to their 2018 release of Death's Gambit. Now, Death's Gambit Afterlife is the reimagining of the original game, boasting a complete mechanical overhaul, alternate endings, new bosses and areas to explore, more weapons, and a slew of quality of life changes. For those unfamiliar, Death's Gambit is a Souls-like Metroidvania that follows Soren, a soldier granted immortality and employed under Death himself to rid the land of Cyrodiil of its curse. The game pays homage in more than obvious ways to Dark Souls, as you must first pick a class before beginning a new game. Further, areas can be found called Alduin, Central Sanctuary, and Kaer Shorai, which sound a lot like the namings of Gwyn, Firelink Shrine, and Honorlando. These are merely inspirations though, as gameplay puts a twist on the dark medieval fantasy action RPG genre. As you progress, you inherit the skill tree of a different class, allowing for hybrid build playstyles. Additionally, when you fall to a boss, you are immediately rewarded with souls based on how much health remains on the boss, allowing you to potentially level up before you try again. Thankfully, you don't lose all your souls after dying. Instead, you drop a healing plume, which is this game's equivalent of an Estus flask. The narrative in Death's Gambit is vague, with snippets of lore that are loosely woven together by your own interpretation. The game digs into Soren's backstory and his ever-long search for his mother in the lost realm of Cyrodiil. Many themes of life, death, and immortality are touched upon as you piece together the story through talking to various characters in flashbacks to when Soren was a child. There's also a bit of humor, as Death himself has a comical personality. Death's Gambit Afterlife is visually stunning with its beautifully drawn pixel art. The dark medieval tone is accentuated by the pixelated design that makes the visual experience a spectacle. From the depressing feel of Darkness Falls to the foresty vibe of Warden's Sanctum, each new area allowed for a refreshing take on scenery. To my surprise, there's actually voice acting in Death's Gambit, which is a rare sight in an indie game. However, for some reason, Soren, the main character, is unvoiced, while all the other major characters are voiced. In addition, to further set the mood is an evoking orchestral score, fitting the setting wherever you go. Death's Gambit Afterlife has perfected its combat system across various updates found in this release. Of course, your attacks and dodges consume stamina, but you also have an ability to execute a perfect block and parry, allowing you to counter the enemy and heal some health back. Before you begin a game, you can now test out each class and their respective weapons and abilities before committing to one. In addition, changes to input buffering have been made, with attacks being able to change directions after the animation has already started. Further, an interesting take on combat is the introduction of the soul meter, which fills as you land hits and is used to execute weapon arts or defensive spells. Combat has received some rebalancing, most noticeable in the talent tree and Metroidvania abilities. Former abilities that had to be purchased with points via the talent tree are now automatically unlocked after defeating certain bosses. In addition, classes such as the Blood Knight have been nerfed. Instead of regaining health if you quickly retaliate, you now have to land an ability instead. In addition, the healing animation executes faster, but heals for less. These small quality of life changes make a big impact on how the overall gameplay mechanics and progression feel. Afterlife adds an additional 6 bosses to the already beefy 14 that exist. Every themed area is capped off with a boss encounter for you to take on. While many games attempt to demonstrate the pinnacle excellence of Souls-like bosses, very few do them correctly. This is not the case with Death's Gambit Afterlife. While most bosses in Afterlife are challenging, there's always a fair balance that makes them fun to fight and challenging to take on. The boss design weaves in environmental platforming in addition to the head-on combat with each one you face. Death's Gambit Afterlife boasts an incredible amount of replayability. Not only does the game offer incentive to replay with its 7 unique classes with a total of over 100 talents and the New Game Plus feature, it also features infinitely replayable heroic boss encounters. These heroic versions of bosses not only make them deal more damage and contain more health, but also display entirely new moves and abilities, making each fight significantly more challenging and exciting. It's loud and clear that White Rabbit wanted to create something they can be proud of many years down the line. Their respectable effort in polishing and revamping the original Death's Gambit with Afterlife shows the love and passion they have for their debut title. Death's Gambit started off weaving together the Souls-like and Metroidvania genres to create a diamond in the rough, but Afterlife came and gave it the love, care, and shine it needed. While it could still use a little bit more smoothing around the edges, Death's Gambit is an excellent title well worth playing for veterans and newcomers alike. Noisy Pixel is giving Death's Gambit Afterlife a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.